Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike the intern, Ned Reynolds in the studio. It's Wednesday, and ESPN has spent a lot of money for college football. And next year, this year, we're going to find out if this is going to pay off once they break down that playoff. But $8 billion? What do you think about that?
Yeah, this is, and got to make a slight correction here because it doesn't take place until next year. This year will be under the old contract.
Okay, okay, for ESPN. Gotcha.
Yeah, this is for the ESPN. The new playoff system comes into effect this year. But the contract, which now is only $480 million a year payoff, goes to $680 million. But folks, over the course of the contract, that adds up to $8 billion. $8 billion. Well, is it worth it? Evidently, the folks at ESPN think that it is, and it is a new concept, of course, in football, having a 12-team playoff. That's a lot of money. The folks at ESPN, which, of course, is operated by ABC and other organizations, are really going to have to get out and hustle their clients, and I'm sure they will. They've done that in the past. They've been around now for 30, 35 years, somewhere around there, and made a go of it, although they've had layoffs here in the past few years. But Mike, that's a lot of money, tremendous amount of money. And when you divide that all up in the seasons, boy, $680 million starting year after next is going to be an awful lot of money.
I'm trying to get the math calculator out as fast as I possibly can to see kind of what, on average, they're going to have to make per game to actually just break even in ad dollars. It's a lot, man.
Well, now keep in mind there are 12 teams. There are 6 games involved, and not all the teams play in the first round. How they're going to divide it up remains to be seen. I don't think they've come up with a specific formula yet, but over and above all that, still, the whole package, $680 a year? Whoa, that's a lot of money.
A lot of money, but you know what? A lot of people are going to watch them too, so who knows? Someone wants it bad enough, they're going to pay for it. Maybe that's the end goal there, streaming, my friend.
That streaming is the answer. That's exactly right.
Well, that's what I'm saying is we might end up putting some of that $8 billion down the road when we have to pay per game or whatever.
I think you have accurately pointed that out. We're the ones footing the bill.
Eventually, yes. Nothing we'll own. We'll all have to rent. When does Iowa basketball sensation go for the new national scoring record?
24 hours from now. Tomorrow night, actually more than that, more than 24 hours. But the fact is that Caitlin Clark, to whom you're referring, will go for the new all-time scoring mark in women's basketball tomorrow night. She's only 8 points shy. Now, women's college basketball is played in quarters and not halves. They play 10-minute quarters. She'll break that scoring mark probably within the first 3 or 4 minutes of the game. Iowa plays Michigan at the Carver Hawkeye Arena in Iowa City that seats 15,000. Mike, the tickets are averaging $387 per seat. That's for a college girl to be going for the scoring record. That is a lot. And they'll get all 15,000 and more in Carver Hawkeye. You remember, Mike, what it was like when Jackie Stiles went for the national record here, and that was in 2001. Well, you couldn't get into the Hammond Center, and that's only about half the size of Carver Hawkeye. This will be a big deal. She'll get that record, and then Caitlin Clark will go on to greater glory. She's a fine player.
She absolutely is, and congratulations to her and her school. They're, I'm sure, all laughing to the bank on that one, too. Your thoughts on the baseball history that might be recorded this season?
It will be. There's no question about it. It will be with the first game that is played, which is March 28th. The Oakland A's will have and they are, folks, still the Oakland A's. They will have the very first ever primary female play-by-play announcer. Her name is Jenny Kavner, and she's pretty good. She's been around on the West Coast now for a number of years and has done play-by-play, but not as the primary broadcaster. This is the very first one ever. This is the, if you can make a comparison, the female Jack Buck or female Joe Buck or the female Harry Carey, whatever the case is, she is the first lady to man the broadcasting booth ever in the history of baseball, doing it for the Oakland A's in what is more than likely their final year in Oakland, California. They'll move to Vegas or somewhere until that new stadium in Vegas is built. But more power to her. I think she can probably do a fine job, and maybe a change is necessary.
She passed the Ned test in broadcasting.
I must admit I haven't heard her.
Well, get back to me.
Get
back to me on that one. Thursday Bears are in whiskey country today.
Murray, Kentucky.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Who they facing off with?
Murray State. The Murray State Racers tonight is a game the Bears can win. Will they? Well, the Bears can win any game they play. They're a good team, solid team, but they played very inconsistent basketball, and that's been the problem this year. This Murray State team was here in Springfield just about a month ago and ran the Bears out of the Great Southern Bank Arena. Went on a 30-3 scoring run in the first half, and hey, that was the ball game. Won 75-56. Well, that didn't sit very well, and the Bears were in a slump at that time. A lot of grousing about that game. Well, Bears get a chance at a little payback, and they can get this ball club, the Racers, tonight in Kentucky. We'll see if they do. The Bears are right on the cusp, and I'm being generous because they're not really quite there, but they don't want to play in that play-in round, which is Thursday and does involve 4 games, but you'd prefer to stay away from that. I'm afraid there's no way they can avoid it, but a win today would help.
That would definitely help, and hopefully they can bring you back some whiskey after it. Either way, everyone headed to Kansas City today. If you're already on the road, be careful, be safe, enjoy it. It's amazing to be in that town when the parade goes through. I wish I could be there, but obviously it's Valentine's Day. And I have a small child, so it's a little bit more difficult for me, and I've been twice, so it is what it is. Have fun. Bottom line is, though, after the party's done, it's back to work, and the Chiefs have got a lot of free agents. They're going to have to figure out who they're keeping and who's going.
With a salary cap space of between $24 and $40 million, which is not very much, folks, the Chiefs do have a lot of work to do. How can you keep Chris Jones? How can you keep L'Jarius Sneed? These are guys who, well, if you franchise player Jones, that's $32 million guaranteed. They have no option. That's what they have to pay him. And the same will be with L'Jarius Sneed. Of course, they can't franchise 2 of them, only 1. It's hard to believe that the Chiefs can keep both those guys, but you don't know. And there are others. Mike Dana, who played very well for the Chiefs this year. Willie Gay is a free agent. Mike Edwards, Blake Bell, Nick Allegretti. These guys are all free agents. Now, are they all in the same star capacity as Jones and Sneed? No, they are not. Those guys are leaders on the field. But somehow, someway, I really feel like the Chiefs and Mr. Beach will overcome some of this and see what happens. Jones especially, they do need him. However, the one caveat, and we talked about this yesterday, he's not a kid, and he has been injury-prone. He's had that nagging groin injury for years now. When is the point that begins to become a major problem for him? Who knows? You don't know the age factor involved and how it's going to affect a player. But, yeah, all that has to be taken into consideration.
And you mentioned a bunch of guys who I don't want to see go either. I mean, obviously, L'Jarius has to stay in Kansas City. And it was reported yesterday that Allegretti played, 79, 80 snaps with a torn UCL in his elbow, which is unbelievable that he was guarding people with that happening that much further into the game and then protected that quarterback. He earns a payday too. So every single one of them. I mean, it's tough, but that is the nature of professional sports. Last but not least, we did have some other college basketball action last night. Did you get any surprises?
Yes, there were. How about this? Here's Indiana State, the Sycamores, cracking the top 25. They're number 23 in America for the first time since Larry Bird played for them centuries ago, and they lose the game. How about this? Illinois State goes to Terre Haute and beats Indiana State 80-67. And here's Indiana State 23 in America. Oh, the Valley is wailing and gnashing their teeth now. There were some other big games. I'll tell you, a team that's really good is Illinois. Fighting Illini beat Michigan 97-68. Illinois is 14th in America. And Baylor and Oklahoma. Baylor is number 12. Oklahoma's 25. Baylor won it 79-62. Among the many big games, more of them coming up tonight.
Ned, you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow.